Briggs, join us. Okay, today is, I spell this right, esoteric realms connected to higher consciousness, the clone matrix. So I don't make these connections all day long. I don't try to connect every moment. Just lose your freaking mind when you do that. Just to put that out there. To go into the clone matrix for a second, yeah, those people that have no auras or doesn't feel like they have an aura or some kind of that can sometimes be a clone being that's here. Just to put that out there. It's not always the easiest to tap into. Of course, you have political people here that are connected to those energies, but it's here in some. I mean, we can clone our own vibrations. Of course, we're not taught that, but in the astral realm, we can do it quite easily. Of course, in the physical, it's a little bit more complicated. It's not that clear, but it was like something I need to go into for some reason. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. It might not go anywhere. Just sort of leave it open. The esoteric realms is basically, the Illuminati consciousness that's here, controlling the mind, manipulating realities, things like that. So my connection went down a little bit, it seems. I'm plugged in, so I don't know why it has a Wi-Fi thing there, but it's a good time for going to the internet. So what's new there? Esoteric.com, our private sessions. The shop here, I'm on the 25th or sometimes the 27th. I forget. It's one of those two. Same situation here. Webinar. And the next webinar is Wednesday. And then or after that, it'll be on Saturday. I'm just going to do it this coming up next Saturday. Social network, Rabbit, behind the scenes, dating site. Okay, connection is better. So we just kind of let this go wherever it needs to go. Last time I did one of these, I had kind of an energy block. I wonder why. No surprise there. So esoteric realms, yeah. So that's basically Illuminati symbolism that's here. The cities, manipulation through reality that's been programmed into us. So we do transition. So that's another reason why the animals are here, for us to shift our consciousness to higher frequencies. So as we shift more into more of an understanding of ourselves, we obviously through nature, but actually mostly it depends on the person. A lot of it's going to be through animals because they're already connected to the higher realms. Basically, a lot of the animals are spirit beings, just in a physical form. Of course, we are too, but they're more aware of what they are. So we're actually going more into the knowledge of the animal, how, because they're like cats and dogs, they see things that we don't see. We're going into that dynamic in our own way. Well, we'll see what they see. That's basically what this is all about. Evolving into a level of higher consciousness. So doesn't mean you have to become a beast or an animal or whatever, beastism or anything like that. No. We're just transferring we're just kind of do it where we see the unseen. Like there are people here that are not seeing things, that see beings all the time. But basically it's for the rest of us to connect those energies when the time is right. It's not quite right just yet, but it's a new society basically. It's a society of people seeing more of the hidden realms, where they come more together, where this, this third dimension reality starts to crumble, fall apart. It already is already. So yeah, I mean, they say decline of the United States is not always a bad thing because it's decline and manipulation that's here. It's just not to give into the fears of it, which is not easy to do. Yeah, it's kind of like it's like a high wire walk. Society is falling apart around us, and can you make it to the other side? Basically, yeah, it's because I think things are going to get. Of course, I felt that last year. Things are going to get strange, and we're still in the early stages of where things are going to get kind of scary, but not to worry. Like we had a hurricane come here, and it just sort of just went away. I mean, it rained more today, I think, than the day the hurricane was here. So, esoteric energies were just, we could say, more making more peace with the hidden knowledge that's here. And yeah, the more it's, of course, that's where shadow work comes in. Of course, this is nothing new, but are you ready for the inner shadow? Which is so dense, so difficult to. I mean, I've connected with some of my shadow stuff, and it's like, jeez, just like, I guess you just kind of just. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to prove it to anybody or share it with anyone, but is go by the connection that you feel that's right. Like if you feel like you're a dictator of a past life, like a pharaoh or a Roman emperor or whatever it is, if you feel that connection, then make that connection. Or someone that was famous in history anywhere, oh, or a time period you feel connected to. That's another way of shadow work. Just basically just accepting your connection to those places, and that's when you start releasing. And it's all timing too. We're not always meant to unlock certain things about ourselves, but it's another way of just it's easier said than done. It's not. Yeah, it's really not always time for us to do shadow work. Or you can do shadow work, but it doesn't mean you always release it. And there's going to be a blockage. Yeah, because we're here to learn what we're here to figure out. So, of course, there's a lot of Atlantean knowledge here, a lot of traumas from that time period. And you see it now within the religions, kind of manipulating society. Some of the scientists you see in World War II doing the genetic modifications of people. Some people here have been part of Illuminati and know that, and accepting that side of yourself, especially like Rosicrucian connections or Knights Templar. It's like there's something with a secret society that you might have heard of or something like that. Are you ready to see your truth? Yeah. And that's when you really start to open yourself up. But once again, it's not always time for that. Yeah, it's almost like a breath of fresh air, sort of. We're definitely in an AI equinox or reality where it's making things more complicated, of course. I feel like a lot of the Illuminati energies here they're making things complicated, but also they're reversing their course. I mean, sometimes they'll put knowledge out there that people probably won't believe, especially our connections to Sirius connections, the Syrian constellation. I believe there are other slave planets there also. Some of them are Egyptian connected. Some are kind of dolphin type of realities where the beings are very highly evolved but still very strict in the mind. That is what I'm getting here. Like you can be in like a wealthy family and still they're very strict of what you do. It's like, what you eat, who you are, what you're going to look like, whatever. A lot of Syrian worlds are like that. Even I'm getting also like a princess type of reality, something like a fairy tale reality, but still very, very constricted. And that's in Sirius, probably in other places, but definitely in Sirius. It's like, you see this lush planet, everything looks perfect. But, and you probably heard this before, in fiction and all that, it's like they're very strict in how they do things. So, and that's where there's like another reptilian manipulation there, or however you want to look at it. We're also here to unlock a lot of the Anunnaki puzzle realms that are here that are in the astral, puzzled realms of an Anunnaki that are very complicated realities where, like, you don't know what your gender is, or you don't know who you are, or what age you are. They mix things up in our DNA, but we have trouble figuring out who we are. Kind of like puzzled DNA or something like that. Just where they mix things up where we get confused, and we're not. And that's part of society. We're not. Society has a certain way we have to think. this way I have to look. This is normal. Is their version of normal. Because there's a lot of within our DNA that's what other alien beings want it for themselves, but can't access it, and they'd rather us not know it because we can't. They feel like we can't handle it or we don't deserve it. So whatever knowledge is in our DNA, it surpasses a lot of other beings in their DNA. I believe that a lot of it has to do with longevity. I mean, when we are at a higher frequency level, we can live a lot longer in a physical form. 1,000 years, I don't know, something like that, or longer. We don't break down. Our cell tissue doesn't break down as fast as others do. At least that's the vibration I'm getting from that. And other beings do not want us to have it. We don't deserve it. That's not the full story why all this is happening, but it feels like that's part of it. It feels like, yeah, that we can live, in a physical body. Of course, not with all this manipulation here, where we can act. You notice how they're always battling our health? I mean, they're trying to ruin us, kill us. It's always health related in some forms. Like, why are they poisoning us all the time? Because they don't want us to have our longevity that we're capable of. Basically, living 200, 300, 400 years old. Think about it. I mean, they've been trying to kill humanity forever, right? All these wars. I mean, that's not the full story of it, but that's part of it. We just, you read in the Bible, if you into that type of thing, where they live like 350 years old or whatever. Yeah, I believe that. But I believe we can live a lot longer than that. And that's what a lot of alien beings really just can't stand us, because we're not mature enough. And I believe we were mature at one time. But then when they manipulated society, then we became all, the worst thing that ever happened to ourselves. So we became very, destructive. So another reason why they bring clones here, of course, take wherever you want, but to manipulate society. Like clones are like you have a body, but not much of a soul. They get up, go to work, they do the process over and over and over again. And you can say they have an aura and all that, but maybe not exactly normal. Kind of like an empty vessel. There's a lot of that here. A lot of them are they're everywhere, but they're everywhere. And then they're hard. They're everywhere, but they're kind of hard to detect too. I don't know if you really want to detect it yet. I mean, some people might be able to tap into it, but I mean, when you start releasing them, some of us are just not meant to release to notice that just yet. But in time, yeah, it's part of our story, our life story. So we have to kind of live what we gotta live. But either way, yeah, it gets more and more bizarre as we go forward. That's for sure. So I believe there's a person that I don't think anyone lives at 200 years, but like in China, or maybe there are people that live in China for 200 years. We'll never know. They're not going to make that known. But yeah, where we can, I believe that's more like against the law. But I could be. Well, I guess they can't always interfere with that. Well, if it's in China, it's a different story, I guess. But really, one of the reasons why we're hated by all these beings is because we can live, a longevity. We can live to like 1,000 years old or 1,500 years old or whatever in the physical form, and be still halfway decent. Due to the air quality, the food quality, obviously that's hard to do. Even at our level of consciousness, we can still live to 200 and 300 years old at least. Even if they stop poisoning us and trying to kill us, yeah, we can. I mean, even in the news, they say that people are living longer. Of course, these days might be a different story, but we are living longer. But obviously, they're doing things to stop that. So. And you can say it's a population thing. I feel like the population will balance itself out as it's doing right now. So, but yeah, the one of the triggers on locking we're going to do is longevity. The other thing which that's what I'm getting from the Anunnaki is our mental space. Obviously, to reactivate more of our minds so we can remember more. Kind of like the activate the Einstein we all have to a certain degree. Some people are very astral. Some people are just magician beings, And this human thing is just not for them, but which is fine. But some people can access. I mean, you can still access your greater higher consciousness. It's been blocked in many different directions, of course, but once again, more that's not going to happen quickly. But we're going into a time of basically, yeah, more of the you can say the genius energy will start to become more prominent. It's been hit with it. They hit us with everything. Energy weapons, everything. It just, I guess when we become more of aware of it, they can't do it as much anymore because we fight it off. We fight it off in the astral. We're trying to just, for us to be more ourselves. So, more of what we want to be instead of what we're being told to be. We're told what version of human is. You live to a certain age, you go to work, you do this, you do what we're being told, but we're here to break a lot of those rules here. So if you go with, again, this energy, it's like you live to 500 years old, I guess you broke all the rules. If you can function. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean everybody's going to be here to live that long, but it can happen here. For those that want it, of course. Yeah, I mean, if you live past 100, I mean, who the hell wants that long anyway? But some people might be able to. It all depends. But really, longevity and connecting more to your higher power. That's really what, obviously, we've been disliked. We've been deactivated from all these things. So one of the reasons why we had all these wars is to kind of put in our minds that we're going to die early. We're going to die at 30. Life is cheap. So, but not forever, not for long. I don't know when things are going to shift to a more higher frequency, but we are heading into that. Doesn't mean it's going to be a paradise, but at least you more understand yourself, but not entirely yet. Another thing with our higher consciousness, people are going to be taller because you're very connected to aliens already that feel like they're kind of 8 feet tall and 7 feet tall. More of that become, at least from certain beings, because that's like their original state. Some people will just be short. But many humans here will probably be taller in the future. As for clothing and all that, that's going to be, similar to like what breathers wear, things like that. Kind of like a robe or something like that. More like a monkish type of reality where we're heading into. Not exactly. Maybe you have to shave your head, but some people might. You can say, of course, more Palladian, more Andromeda, because Andromeda energies are more like it depends on the Andromeda, of course, and the Palladian, but more of like a monkish, monk vibration. But one thing for sure, one thing about being here is remembering our lessons here. At least those that are here to evolve. It's like, don't you want to evolve, but do you want to go through this again? It's like, that's the other thing. It's like you want to evolve, but so you don't have to reincarnate and go through this whole amnesia thing again. So that's another reason why a lot of us incarnated here is to help with the amnesia. For those that want to help, others are just like, this is fun. More power to you on that. Yeah, okay. Whatever works for you. Yeah. I mean, it's all spiritual in the long run. I mean, if you're third dimensional, you just love the physical, that's a spiritual, technically. That's maybe not your version of spirituality, but for some people, that's their version of spirituality. But yeah, the idea is for us not to go through the same lessons. Well, to help us avoid those lessons, but to not forget. I don't know if they're going to build like temples or something. So it's like, remember last time, let's not screw up. Let's not mess things up again. I see a temple. I don't know if it's going to be a temple. We're big on temples here, but it's just to avoid the mistakes of the past. We get a little bit smarter. We put our knowledge here. I mean, a lot of people here now, like, you're in the physical, are alien already. So it's like you can technically put your knowledge out there. It's like I'm human, but I'm alien, starseed, whatever, or spirit being, whatever. and you put your knowledge here. It's like this is for the future generations, and then you leave and do your thing. You know, I mean, yeah, people are looking for like the alien knowledge. You have it within yourself, so you can leave that here for if you feel like you need to do so, or just leave the vibration here. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, some people want to leave their mark here, so they don't have to follow the same cycles. Because that's pretty much what, like I say, when people are why you are here is to. It's a mystery, but the idea is so we don't have to make these same mistakes anymore. Reactivate the pyramid energies for a more positive connection. We don't have to be programmed. I believe the pyramid's programming us. Now, there's positive aspects of it, but also there's negative aspects to it. So we go to more of a positive aspect, and also eventually remove time and remove the calendar. Removing the calendar is going to be kind of difficult. Time is going to be difficult, but like the months, April, Moon, June, July. I mean, imagine just removing that stuff from society. That's going to hurt. We might have to be pretty evolved for that to happen. We might still have the months just for us to connect to the stars, but that's real more of a physical energy. We don't really need it so much. You just go by your intuitive nature, what you feel, where it's coming through. You don't need a calendar to tell you anything. But that's up to the person. It's up to, yeah, that's going to be removing the calendar. It's like, okay, we're like they're canceling people, cancel. What if they cancel time? What if they cancel the calendar? Good luck with that. Cancel holidays, because that's all kind of rituals anyway. Holidays are rituals, basically. Even 4th of July is a ritual. Yeah, they're just putting rituals all over ourselves. I mean, people say they don't believe in the elite and Illuminati. Well, why do we have all these ritual holidays? I mean, look at Halloween if you don't believe it. Halloween is just like, anyway, you know, Easter's a, yeah, it's all rituals anyway. So, let's see. So the building blocks of reality is, yeah, how much you want to. People want to know knowledge here, of course, and it takes time, it's patience. But I feel like we are going into a time of knowing more of why we are here, uh, on many different levels. Of course, we're all basically visitors from other places, and to like figure out our galactic passport, where we come from. It's like what's of course Palladian, Syrian, and so forth, but there's always more to it than that. Of course, you bring your energy. You always don't need to know about it here. I mean, you need to have some idea, but you're here. You bring your energy frequency here. What matters is just your frequency. You can connect to Palladian, Syrian, whatever. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's basically the frequency that you're bringing to the earth goes into the earth's core. It shifts the vibration. So, yeah, we avoid these timelines. We avoid these cataclysms. We avoid, the end of the world scenarios. Not that we're not going to have some kind of shift in the future, like with the flooding and all that. It's going to happen eventually somewhere, but can't worry about it really. Yeah, just where Antarctica begin to melt. Not yet. It is melting in certain areas, and the seas are rising, like with Key West. Some parts of Key West are going underwater, but you haven't heard that in the news for obvious reasons. But yeah, around where I am, the seas are rising in some places. So I haven't seen it, but I can feel it. Let's put it that way. The Bahamas are going to get hit by that too. Any island, but Bahamas are going to hit big time for that. This is kind of out of nowhere, but I mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. Yeah, I believe there is at one time energy weapons here in Florida area, Bahamas area. Now it's positive energy crystals, but then they can be used for wiping out places too, like Egypt. Like it's been used to also cause a lot of cataclysms here too. Somewhere in this area, it's been caused a lot of destruction on the planet. I believe this is one of the around the Gulf of Mexico, some kind of source of something. And of course, it's hidden. It's because we have pyramids here also under the ocean, so something happened here. But I feel like this is more of the source. One of the reasons why I'm here. It hasn't been made clear because it's being blocked. I guess it gets kind of it's obvious because we set the world backwards basically. So we're going to a higher frequency with Atlantis and all that. And then we send things back in time basically. So now we're realigning the vibrations with the Earth's core, with the Earth's energy, with other planets. Where as we shift our vibration to a higher frequency, the planet will eventually move its axis. Will move where we're at. Not yet, but we're eventually going to have a different location where the planet is. Of course, not that we really know where the hell it is anyway. We're just going by what we're being told. But it feels like it will move its location in the future because that's a vibrate. This has a new energy field, but we have to really change for that to happen. I mean, I don't think it's happening now, but will happen in the future. It has to. Well, the cycle because we're getting energy from Venus and Mercury, and of course the Sun. Of course, we're getting energy from all the planets. So Venus and Mercury, we receive a lot of information from them. Of course, Mars sometimes. I mean, this is technically a Martian planet. You might not call it a Martian planet, but it's technically a Martian planet. It's like Martian Next Generation. Take it however you want with that. Esoteric realms. Illuminati secret societies aren't about to be opened up anytime soon, but they are willing to give hints, especially in the financial markets. Some of the sacred sites, obviously, a lot of these beings from these sacred sites are part of the elite, where they get connected to a certain part of enlightenment where they feel like they can do anything. But they feel like they just, so if you're like poor and you manifest wealth and you manifest power, you manifest new friends within the elite. That shows, I guess, a version of enlightenment. I guess. Usually, when they come out of nowhere, when you start from nothing, there's usually something more to it than that. But that's what they're showing. A lot of these elites start from nothing, but they're not. They are still part of the vibration, but see, a lot's coming through the media at this time or the entertainment. But eventually, the elites, the secret societies will bring up stuff physically for us, but not quite yet. Like through books, like you might see an esoteric book about, it's like where does this come from? So it feels like some of the elites are writing diaries about how powerful they are, but they're kind of keeping it secret at the same time, meaning that they put the book out there, but they don't give it a lot of attention. It doesn't mean they have done it fully yet, but they are working towards it. I mean, I would feel like some of these secret societies are going to have their own, confessions, but not yet. Like some people are doing the UFO confessions, like you have an 80-year-old guy talking about aliens and all that. Well, some of the elites more of those are going to start doing it in their future too, because I believe they have a contract also. And they can't say anything at a certain time, like 90 or whatever age they need to be. Or if they just don't care, they end up having a short life, whatever. It feels like some of the elites will start to whistleblow, but not yet. It feels like they're just not ready for it, but they know the time's coming. But they want to save their souls too. Now, is anybody going to believe them is another story, but I don't think they care about that. And it's usually those connected to the financial system. So, those that have seen wealth beyond your dreams or anybody. Not that anybody really dreams about that, but I don't dream about that. But beyond your whatever, your wealthy whatever narcissism. Just I feel like some of the wealthy elite. I mean, you can say kind of the Britney Spears type of thing is kind of like a confession, sort of. I mean, it for Britney Spears to go after her dad, it's kind of a big deal. It's like going after her mind control master, and to do it. I mean, obviously it's going to be done publicly, but I imagine she could have done it not publicly, but she wanted public support. So yeah, it's not really making itself too clear. But once again, when these elitist whistleblowers start whistleblowing, I'm not sure how many people are going to really believe it. I remember reading about forgot. I found this online or somewhere. I forget. Obviously, it's online. How they'd have meetings secretly. Obviously secretly. A lot of it's in California, not all of it. What's the vibe I'm getting from that? And you just see this wealthy, like a wealthy party for somebody rich. You might think it's a wedding, but it's usually actually it's a meeting. And they might make it look like it's a celebration of some time. It kind of is to a certain degree, but it's more like a celebration. Yeah, so those that are having like if you see wealthy people having a party, and you don't see any like wedding gifts or anything. I mean, they can call it a birthday party. You're not gonna know. But if you see, I know it sounds weird. Not every wealthy person is gonna have this, but some that are like mega rich and having parties, a lot of that is connected to their elitists. They're having some kind of meeting somewhere within it. It's like a party within a party. Like they have an outside party, but then they have like their secret meeting party. Their meeting within it. Yeah, it's like to get people's attention. I mean they are bringing attention to themselves, but yes and no. It's like kind of like in plain sight. Of course, James Bond had somewhere not like they had like like an elitist meeting, and that was like Spectre, but didn't have a party or anything going on. But it was a lot of people that were involved with it. But yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I just feel elitists in their confessions somewhere down the line. Some of them might be news reporters, or they'll go to a news reporter and just talk about something, but not really talking about themselves, but kind of leaking information, but keeping themselves anonymous. Just somewhere they're going to start to like some people. Some of them are talking about the markets, like the Bitcoin situation, trying to inflate it and things like that. But I feel like some of the elitists, like part of Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, or wherever, some of them feel a little bit kind of like they don't want karma for this stuff. So they're kind of like maybe anonymously put their heart out there of how things work here. I guess we kind of have an idea of it, but we can always take more. There is a secret space program, maybe not as we visualize it, but there is a version of it, but it's very obviously. I mean, the secret space program that's boring. They get in their ship, they keep it quiet, they fly out to wherever, and they just have a little bit more advanced technology that are being sent. But it's very boring. So at least has a version of it. Of course, there's fourth-dimensional versions, fifth-dimensional versions, and so forth. But there's another version that's out there. But now, how many of them are getting on a ship and going out in space? Not many of them. It feels like there is something going out in space somewhere. They're not going to go into details of that. There's something going. There's always something going on. They're just not telling us. Yeah, we haven't been to the moon in a long time. It's like, come on. It's like, they're doing stuff. They're doing stuff out there. It's like, how are we gonna know? It's like, do we have telescopes and can see what's on the moon? I guess some people might, but most people don't. But I feel like we're in a timeline of, esoteric elitists exposing themselves, but they haven't quite gone to that level just yet. They're kind of thinking about, they want to expose themselves. They do it through Netflix, through some of those shows, like the Lucifer. You can say it's kind of a version of that, but they're kind of they want to do it, but they pull back. They want to say something. They want to, they're just. I feel a lot of hesitance coming from them. Like, what they're going to put it on the line? Is this worth it? Is it worth putting your clearing your karma? Maybe just have a doomed soul. It's just the way it is. But I feel like we're a time of redeeming ourselves, or the higher weights that are manipulating society. But it's not showing when, but it feels like there are in a time of release. Just there's a lot of sorrow. It's like I'm so miserable. They keep making money, they keep making themselves rich, but they feel more and more empty. It's like the richer they are, the more emptier they are, but yet they rule everything. It's funny. So I guess when some of the wealthy are giving away their money, when they're actually doing it instead of just saying they're doing it, or they do these Rockefeller and stuff like that. It's a bunch of BS. When they're actually doing it, without a tax write-off, without manipulating the markets, that shows when they're trying to, Jesuits. There's a lot of Jesuits that are part of this system. A lot of them are connected to the Vatican, and they just haven't quite, had the, the bravery to expose them with it. Yeah, a lot of them are just sick. They're just sick of being themselves, but they do it anyway. I mean, some of them would rather just work at a factory and have nothing to their name and feel better, just be a regular person. But obviously, many have not decided that. So we come here to heal that consciousness for them to start spilling their guts. They just have to wait and see how it goes. Yeah, it's basically for them to spill their guts. That's basically it. Well, it helps us know how things work here because they're blocking us from knowing. They're blocking us about Egypt. They're blocking us from all these sacred sites. They're blocking us constantly. I'm here to go through that. Just get some answers that are for it's just I got no answers here, but I just feel elitists wanting to open themselves up. Who knows? They're out there. Something to give. So, all right, that's all I got for tonight. Hopefully, it's somewhat helpful. There's always more, but I get blocked as I'm trying to connect deeper. I get blocked, but I think some of that's helpful. Maybe not in the grander scheme of things, but again, maybe so.